Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you how to turn a basketball jersey into a cute mini dress. So I'm going to go through the steps, but make sure you download the pattern below so that you are ready to follow along. Also, something I'll add before we get started is you're going to want to make sure your jersey is at least 2 sizes larger than the end dress size that you want to make. So if you're making a small, make sure it's at least a large. The larger the jersey, the easier it is to work with because you're going to have more fabric to play with. So I would always recommend to go an extra size up than you're thinking. So probably XL minimum for this project is a great start. I have a large, so it's going to be just enough, but yeah, always go for the largest jersey size that you can find. It's going to make your life a lot easier. All right, so the first step is to print out your pattern, of course. I chose to print mine wide format at the print store. So basically I ask for them to print on their wide format machine, and always make sure to print at 100% scale. I've attached little 1-inch and 2-inch squares on the pattern so you can measure it right after it's printed to make sure it printed correctly. So make sure to do that. On the pattern you'll download, you'll see there's sizes extra small to extra large, so you can choose your size and cut along the dotted lines associated with that size. So I've already gone ahead and cut out mine. I'm going to use a small today. We just have our 3 pieces, so this is the front, this is the back of the dress, and then these are the straps. And I'll show you how to cut out all of the pieces on the jersey and how many of each piece that you'll need to complete the project. So let's move on to the next step. So because my jersey is a little bit on the smaller size for this project, I'm going to actually use this seam ripper to open up the seams on the sleeve opening and the neck opening. So I'm gonna take off this part just so that I can get a little more of that purple part of the jersey showing. So I'm gonna go ahead and start seam ripping that, and then we can lay our pattern flat and cut out our pieces for the jersey. Okay, so now that we have opened up the top of the jersey and the sides, by removing these little collar pieces, I'm going to open up the bottom of the jersey. So right here, I'm going to use my seam ripper again and slowly seam rip this open so that I can get about an extra 1/2 inch of material on the bottom of the dress. Okay, so now that we have our bottom opened up here, what I'm gonna do is open up the side seams. So you can either cut or seam rip the side seams of your jersey all the way down both sides, and then we will lay it flat and we'll be set to be ready to cut out our pattern. Okay, now that the bottom of the jersey is all opened up, I'm going to go ahead and open up the side seams of the jersey. So both sides, we're going to open those up either with a seam ripper or with scissors, and then we will be ready to lay the pattern down and cut out the pieces. Okay, so now that our sides are all opened up here, I'm gonna go ahead and place my back pattern on the back of the jersey. I'm going to find a good placement for it. Probably about there. And then when I'm happy with that, I'm gonna go ahead and pin it in place. That looks pretty good there. Okay, looks good. Now I'm going to cut it out. So now I'm gonna do the same thing with the front of the jersey. Okay, so now that we've cut out our front and back pieces, it's time to cut out our straps. So I have this leftover material. Not much is left over, so we're gonna make do with what we can. So we're gonna need 2 of these straps. So I'm gonna cut 2 of them here. It's gonna be just enough. And I'm gonna have this little NBA emblem on one of them, which I think could look pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin these down and then cut out 2 of them. Okay, so now that I've cut out all my pieces, I'm gonna go ahead and add lining pieces. So I have this black fabric and I'm gonna basically cut out the exact same pieces I did for the jersey, and I'm going to cut them out in this black stretchy cotton fabric. So I'm gonna do that now and then we can start sewing after that. Next, what we're gonna do is we're going to prepare the straps. So we're gonna take our jersey strap and we're gonna put it right sides facing against our lining piece, like so. Flatten it out, and we can pin in place. Perfect. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to actually sew down 3 sides. So I'm going to go up here, across, down, and then I'm going to leave one of these smaller sides open so that I can flip it inside out after. So we're going to do this for both of these, and I'm going to set up my thread and then we can get sewing. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip this inside out. So I'm first gonna cut off the corners, making sure not to go over the seam. And if you want, you can cut off a little bit of extra bulk on the seam allowance here. Making sure to leave a lot of extra room. Okay, now we're gonna grab our loop turner, or if you don't have one of these, you can grab a safety pin, shove it in at the bottom, and then use it to help you flip it inside out. I'm gonna use my loop turner, simply just put it in, hook it at the top, and then we're gonna start to flip it inside out. Just like that. Put it back in to help you poke your corners. Okay, it's looking like this so far. I'm going to take that to the ironing board after I finish the other strap. Okay, now I'm gonna sew my little Intro to Sew label on. I've got that pinned in place, and now I'm just going to sew it on the back piece of my lining. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our lining dress together. So we're gonna do right sides facing. So putting this one on top of this one and making sure to line up. Okay, then we're gonna go ahead and pin these sides together, so all the way up.
Will you wake with me in the sunrise, sunrise, sunrise?
Okay, so now I'm gonna sew this side down. Okay, so now this side is sewn down. We're going to pin this side together. So don't worry about this gap here. We're just gonna pull them together, starting with corner to corner and then go all the way down. Okay, that's all pinned down. Now I'm gonna go ahead and sew the other side.
Addicted to you. Addicted to love.
I'm still learning truly how to love.
So now I'm basically going to do the same thing I just did with the lining dress, with the jersey dress. So right sides facing. Again, line them up, corner to corner. Okay. Then we're just going to pin it down on one side and then sew and then do the other side. Okay, now I'm going to sew the side down. All right, the other side is pinned down, and now I'm going to sew that final side down and we'll be done with the jersey front and back. Okay, so the next step basically is we're going to attach our lining piece with our jersey piece of the dress, and we're basically going to flip them both inside out like this and place them together. So I like to describe something like this as sort of one long pipe. So we're going to go top of the dress to top of the dress, and we're going to do right sides facing, and we're going to pin or clip all the way around. So making sure your seams line up perfectly, just start clipping or pinning like so, and then we're going to continue this all the way across.
Woke up this morning with the sunrise in my eyes.
Okay, so now that I've pinned these two pieces together, I'm going to sew them down.
I'll be toasting all my life.
Okay, now we're gonna flip it so far. So next what we're going to want to do is actually start to insert our straps. So what I'm going to do is seam rip where I want my straps to go. So on this dress, it's just at these tops here in the front. So I'm just going to go ahead and seam rip these just a little bit, so that I can slide it on in. Okay, so that should be enough for this one. Okay, we're just gonna tuck that in there, and then I'm going to clip it in place. Going to do the same with this side. Okay, that one is in. Going to clip this in place as well. Now we're going to flip it. Just fold it flat here. Then we can seam rip a little opening right where this one will fall in the back. And you could have also done this before. While you were sewing this before, you could put your straps in, but for me this is just a little easier to tell exactly where I want my straps. So feel free to make this step your own. Whatever way is most efficient for you. So I seam ripped that a little bit. Now I'm going to clip that in place so I know where that's going to go. I'm going to clip this one in place here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Okay, now I'm going to clip this one in place. Beautiful. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip these inside out again. Okay. And we can see our strap coming through the other side here. So what I'm actually going to do is put my hand in and unclip. And then I'm going to place the clip on the inside here. This, doing the same with the others. So I'm gonna unclip, pull the strap through. Okay, and then clip in place on this side. Now for this side, again, unclip, pull it through, flatten everything out. Okay. Then clip. Last one. Unclip on the inside. Pull it through. Flatten it out. And clip down. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the sewing machine again all the way around, making sure to secure in that seam and secure in the straps as well. So we're basically just going to sew all the way around, all the way around to the other side. So you can either pass by once or twice, whatever you want, as long as you feel like it's secure. Okay, so I'm gonna go head back to the sewing machine. Okay, now we can flip it. Perfect, now we just have to do the bottom. I'm going to pass this at the ironing board to get that nice and flat. Okay, so now in order to close up the bottom, we're going to tuck in both dresses, the lining and the outside dress. So I'm gonna start at the corner and I'm gonna fold that in about 1 centimeter, and then I'm gonna fold this one in about 1 centimeter, and then I'm gonna place them together, and then we're gonna clip. Oh, that clip broke. Okay, fold it in. And then clip. So we're going to continue to do this all the way around. Okay, so now that this is all clipped down, I'm gonna go ahead and sew along this edge here. All right, beautiful, looking good. I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to sew a second seam really close to the edge there, just so that we don't have this lift. All right, beautiful. And we're done. I can't believe it. I'm so happy with it.
Qu'est-ce que je vais te nommer? Je vais te nommer l'amour, l'amour tendre, l'amour qui chante doucement dans mon cœur, l'amour sans logique à la raison.